Hey everyone, my name is Jason from GameRave.com, and this is Pause Mode. Today, I bring you into the whimsical world of Pandemonium from Crystal Dynamics and developer Toys for Bob. The story is about 3 pages in the manual, but all you really need to know is that Nikki and Fargus, our 2 playable heroes, were messing around atop a castle tower casting magical spells as they burst into fireworks. A regretful level 10 spell creates a huge monster that eats their entire kingdom in one literal swoop. Freaked out by their predicament, they set off in search of the wishing engine so that they may wish their mistake away. The game is set up in a 2.5D environment, meaning that it has 3D graphics, but you never actually break a 2D plane. As you run through the stages, the paths will curve in and out of the screen, creating an interesting, if sometimes partially confusing perspective. Nikki and Fargus share the same basic set of moves, but each has their own unique maneuver. Nikki can double jump, allowing her to avoid certain confrontations and access out-of-reach areas, where Fargus has a spin attack allowing him to plow through enemies Nikki would need to jump on or over. Levels themselves are straightforward, but with really nice little touches and minor puzzle elements to them. Keys can be collected to open up areas, while other in-game decor can be pushed or activated to reveal items and areas. By the simplest of examples, the moment you start the game, you can find a hidden ice power-up by jumping into the statue above the first gate. There's also plenty of diversity in the stage designs, which keeps the game feeling fresh as you play through. The camera angle changes allow for some nifty viewpoints and visual vistas, but you'll occasionally run into a spot where an enemy is in the curve of the road, making for an interesting jump problem. Music is more or less standard platform fare. The characters and enemies don't do much in the way of voices or noises, so that's kind of a bummer. Where the game falters is actually not even its own fault. Pandemonium is one of the few games that suffers at the hands of modern televisions. My recording setup has the game upscaled to HDMI and then obviously to a modern day flat screen television. After about half an hour of footage recording, I found myself struggling with platform jumping like I had never experienced before. It was only when I hooked up the system to a CRT TV with a component upscaler no less that I was able to hit all of my jumping marks. This is a huge blow to the game, as folks who are playing on modern TVs may be having unfounded difficulty in an otherwise enjoyable game. Another surprise involves jumping the pond to Japan. You see, just like the US versions of Japanese games sometimes getting bizarre makeovers, Pandemonium is no different. Released in Japan as magical hoppers, Nikki and Fargus are swapped out with a crazy guy in somewhat clown armor and a more Japanese-style magical girl. Sid, Fargus' stick, even gets replaced with a T-shaped branch that also bears the face of an old man on it. The story has also been completely flipped and involves some place called Amazing Land rather than hunting down the wishing engine. I know, I was confused too. From the obligatory collecting angle, Pandemonium thankfully won't cause that much havoc on the wallet. If you're willing to stay here on the Sega Saturn, the game runs for about $50. This is important to stress. It sells for $50. I've seen too many resellers trying to jack the price up into the triple digits, and that's not happening. If you don't have a Saturn and would prefer the PlayStation version, it's a much more tolerable $25 average, and of course, there's a variant. If you're looking for non-console versions, the PC edition is out there as well, as is the impressive, if chopped in half, n-gage version. To summarize, Pandemonium is a fun, if light on the actual story platformer with good graphics and gameplay. There's plenty of snooping around to be had, and the password feature allows you to rekindle any level at any time. Alright guys, that wraps up this week's Pause Mode. As always, like, subscribe, and add your discussion in the comments below. Otherwise, play, laugh, and love. We'll see you next week.